This is a low power image of a testis, which we're going to be looking at today. It's got an attached epididymis to it. So this is the testis here, and the epididymis is here on the side, which is a highly folded, highly coiled tubule. So at low magnification, we can see that the testis here is made up of rounded seminiferous tubules, and between the tubules is interstitial tissue, which contains Leydig cells, and the entire testis is surrounded by a thin band of connective tissue called the tunica albuginea, just right there. So as I mentioned, there is an epididymis here attached here at low power. Now if we look at higher power, just zoom in on one seminiferous tubule. So just looking closer at a seminiferous tubule, the cells are arranged in layers from the basement membrane, which is this structure here, to the lumen, okay, reflecting spermatogenesis. So this here, this thickness here represents spermatogenesis. So you can see the spermatogonia. These include, here at the periphery, they include type A dark cells, which are reserved stem cells, and type A pale cells. Okay, dark cells, and then there's type A pale cells. So the pale cells are actively dividing to maintain spermatogenesis. So moving inward, we can see the spermatocytes, and if your slide preparation is actually very good, you can actually see them in the zygote or Pachytene stages, which is one cell here I'm highlighting. So this could be a cell in the zygote or Pachytene stage. So these are spermatocytes, and these are actually in stage 1 of meiosis, or the first part of the meiotic division. And then closer to the lumen, there are spermatids, so which later differentiate into the spermatozoa. Supporting all of this, you find the Sertoli cells, which are sort of like triangular cells. I think I can highlight one for you. They stem from the basement membrane projecting inwards. So here's one Sertoli cell, sort of like triangular in appearance. Okay, what's the function of a Sertoli cell? So they provide structural and nutritional support for the developing germ cells. So now between these tubules, usually between the seminiferous tubules, for example like here, you get to see Leydig cells, which are very, very eosinophilic in their cytoplasm, and they produce testosterone, which is essential for spermatogenesis. So kind of like the Leydig cells produce the testosterone, and the Sertoli cells also help with spermatogenesis. So the two kind of work hand in hand together. So that's all we have here in the testis. Now let's look at the epididymis. So in the epididymis, it contains coiled tubules that are lined by pseudostratified epithelium with stereocilia, which is different from cilia. This is not true cilia because they lack the motor ability which cilia have. They function to increase the surface area and store up mature sperm. So they absorb excess fluid within the epididymal tubule. Okay, so that's about the epididymis. Sorry, just one more point. I forgot to mention that usually they are surrounded by smooth muscle, this layer of smooth muscle, which you can see And how we know that this is smooth muscle, they have a cigar shaped like nuclei, and usually the smooth muscle here helps with contraction, so they contract and propel the fluid up, or the semen up. So, and about the embryology of the testis. So the testis develop from the intermediate mesoderm in the genital ridge. So primordial germ cells migrate from the yolk sac to the genital ridge, forming spermatogonia. The epididymis, this develops from the Wolfrian or mesonephric duct. So because of these origins, it's nice to know that we divide usually tumors in the testis as either germ cell tumors or sex cord stromal tumors. So germ cell tumors meaning arising here from the seminiferous tubules, where we likely see seminomas or non-seminomatous lesions, or sex cord stromal tumors that deal with Leydig cells, tumors arising from there as well. So that's about it with the testis. If you have anything that you'd like to know, you can always pop in the comments and mention something there. So to summarize, the testis consists of seminiferous tubules with spermatogenic cells, Sertoli cells, interstitial Leydig cells, and tunica albuginea. The epididymis is lined by a pseudostratified columnar epithelium with stereocilia and smooth muscle. So key details of spermatogenesis include type A duct cells and type A pale cells, spermatogonia, zygotine and pachytine primary spermatocytes, which later then develop into the spermatozoa, if you can remember going back into the video. And then you also just need to remember the embryonic origin, and something called an entity called cryptorchidism, where the testes descend, and usually in such conditions they tend to later on develop malignant conditions like germ cell tumor. Thank you very much.